Welcome back to the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every week on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. As you can see from the background and the jerseys and the main man who is on, our European agent Craig, this is an episode of the Shankly Sessions. We are going to preview the big game for Saturday evening, Norwich versus Liverpool. Craig, how are you doing, my man?
Very good, Niall. Very happy that the Premier League is back. You know, it did feel like so long, but thankfully we had the Euros to kind of ease the pain a bit.
Yeah,
And Premier League is nearly upon us, and it's great, get the fans back in. And for us, that extra kind of incentive of hopefully having more of a full team back together as well, which is a massive bonus. Unluckily for Andy Robertson, not so much, but as a whole, it's more complete, you would say.
Yeah. Well, to say that we're 24 hours and 1 hour away from the kickoff from the new Premier League season is very, very exciting. And I know for me and you, come on, Brentford, let's do this. It's going to be ringing out tomorrow night.
Not even to have a go at Arsenal, but I think Brentford could surprise a lot of people, with the style of play. And on a Friday night to open the Premier League, as much as I do, it does never go to plan, the Premier League. You can never say it's a given or, you know what I mean? New stadium, Arsenal not in the greatest of nick. So, Brentford, I think, will be up for it. And, all credit and good luck to them for the season.
It's exactly us having a go at Arsenal. Come on, Brentford. Anyway, let's get into our preview.
Tony.
Yeah, let's get into our... Tony. Yeah, absolutely. First scorer, absolutely. Let's get into our game anyway and not be worrying about the guys that make up the numbers, right? Carrow Road, obviously a hard place to go. Carrow Road, a bit of a fortress for Norwich over the years, and we've had some success there, but we've also had some blinding score lines.
Yeah, it was a 6-5. Remember Lallana bleeding hell.
Yeah,
like no disrespect to Norwich, but like 6-5, very flattering for them against Liverpool. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ, they'll have the fans back, they're at the coming up again from a bit of a yo-yo stint in the league. They've stuck with Daniel Farke, who they believe is the right man for the job. I don't believe he's a bad manager at all, but they have done some signings, obviously, outside of the Premier League this time. They brought Buendia, a massive loss for the club. Massive.
Yeah.
Nearly, it's like a talisman. It's like a star man. And for Norwich, they are very few and far between with the kind of club that they are and the size that they are and coming up from the Championship. You want to hold on to your assets coming up, to give yourself any chance, really. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. I think Billy Gilmour is an outstanding signing, albeit a loan deal, but he's going to play, obviously, every week, you'd imagine. And I think, he's already shown so much maturity in his game. I'm Chelsea that he probably feels completely ready to help out Cantwell. A bit of rumours around his, is he gone? Villa were, spotting an eye on him and stuff, and he's a very good player. I think, is his eye going to turn, or is he going to say, look, I'll play the season out with Norwich and give them everything that I can? The thing, a question mark for Norwich is, again, probably like the Pookie come up and score, but can you do it over a consistent basis, or will he filter out again after a little bit of a spell, which is no good to a team coming up in the Championship? They need it all the way through, or at least, good portions of the league, Bringing in two players from Werder Bremen, Emiliot Rashica, very much a playmaker, kind of goal assists, kind of creator. He's been linked with Europe many times, around Europe from Werder Bremen, never happened. Gonna try his hand in the Premier League. That could go well for him. We don't know. We don't know how it's going to play out for Premier League. And Josh Sargent, who doesn't have the best goal scoring record, USA international, at Werder Bremen. Have Norwich seen some potential? Have they seen something that other clubs might have said, maybe Bremen isn't the style for him, or the suitability for him, or the league isn't for him? It could be the Premier League. We don't know. This could be the platform that these players can go hand in hand with Norwich and help. We don't know. I think Billy Gilmour are very excited to see him, playing week in.
Yeah. I think I looked at the pre-season, and when I was looking at their pre-season, it wasn't overly flattering, really. And then when they did step up against the likes of Newcastle, they got stuffed. Their pre-season, they won 1-0 against Lincoln, they won 2-0 against Huddersfield, and 5-0 against Gillingham. And then
they should be doing that, wouldn't you expect anyway? You know, that kind of way.
Yeah, but I would have thought with moving into the Premier League, I would have thought their pre-season, they would have upped the standard maybe of their pre-season games, maybe, you know what I mean?
They should have maybe had like 1 or 2 and then brought it up a notch, you know, to get that kind of level, you know.
Looking at our own pre-season, obviously 1-0 against Mainz, 4-3, we lost against Hertha Berlin, and then 1-1 against Bilbao and 3-1 against Osasuna. So we had a much better level, if you like, of pre-season quality.
And we also embedded, you know, it's great. It's a bonus that Virgil's been getting some minutes. Joe has been getting some minutes. Konate looks like he's there longer than this kind of window. I think you'd agree with that as well. Looks very much a part of the furniture, having great banter with the lads.
Yeah.
I'm just really, really interested to see what is he going to be able to have that extra yard still. Like, he is a super fit human being, I think, anyway, you know, super fit.
Yeah, the one thing I seen about the pre-season was that Tsimikas got so much time as well, which I think was absolutely vital. Now looking at Andy Robinson's injury, so I'd expect him to slip in there now and lay down a marker. He's looked really impressive in pre-season.
We've seen it with Andy Robertson ourselves, though. Look how long Klopp does this purposely. You know, he's not going to throw lads into the mix for the sake of it. Like, you know, as long as it takes for the, you know, albeit, I hope Tsimikas can, you know, push on, and we, instead of kind of saying, oh, we're missing Andy Robertson, that we'd be kind of saying, look, it's Tsimikas, fair play to him, he's at the coming in doing a job, what we want, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's look at the Norwich lineup first of all. This may not be the latest lineup, but it's the latest lineup that we had. So I know this information has come through. But obviously, Krul, Aarons, Hanley, Gibson, Yamalis, McLean, Gilmore, Rashika, Vratic, Cantwell, and Pookie. I know you've got some information there in terms of Cantwell has an ankle injury, I think.
Yeah, it's doubtful. And possibly, I think Rashika and Hanley could be at COVID-19. So, you know, when a team is coming up, especially when you're playing one of the big guns, not only do you have to have a bit of luck, but you have to have a really good day and have everyone available. You know, when we miss a player, you'd probably say, right, we're all right, we'll slip someone else in, as in Andy Robertson. Hopefully we can throw Tsimikas in there, we'd be all right. Norwich miss a player, it's totally different ball game for them. Your key player, you know, Cantwell be massive miss in the pocket. Hanley at the back, really physical, you know, really strong, big presence back there, another miss, you know, things like that for Norwich should be much more noticeable, you would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And they wouldn't have the strength and depth either. And then, of course, still trying to figure out how they play around the fact that Buendia is gone as well, you know.
It's massive, like goals. Like, if he stayed there, that could have even been a difference maker.
Yeah.
You know, which is what they're hoping. I think Rashika will be, but again, he has no experience in this league. That can be either hit or miss. We don't know. Everyone comes to the Premier League, and you know.
Yeah, I had a look at I had a quick look at our own lineup there, and I know Klopp has done an interview saying that he'd expect Virgil and Gomez to take some part in the game. But the probable lineup at the moment is Alisson, Trent, Matip, Van Dijk, Tsimikas, Thiago, Fabinho, Keita, Salah, Firmino, and Mane. Which is
the midfield sounds interesting because I think we could get a bit of fluency if Keita could stay fit and Thiago coming in from the start of the season this time around without the COVID and injury.
Yeah,
I think we could get a bit of you know, joy out of midfield and a bit more going forward if they can stay fit, you know.
Yeah, the only thing I'm thinking about that predicted lineup, obviously, Jordan isn't in the lineup,
no,
because he's only basically back. You know, he's only back about a week or so.
So we,
you know what I mean?
expected that, like, you know.
But Bobby's only back a week as well, so I wonder whether Bobby will start or not, or whether he'll favour Jota, or he could favour Ox maybe, because Ox has been playing in that false nine all through the pre-season and has looked amazing. So I wonder, would he throw Ox in, especially looking that if the Norwich side is going to be depleted as it is, it might be an opportunity to play a slightly different side, have a look at it, but still be comfortable within the win, maybe.
Look, there's no harm in, tinkering a little bit with the circumstances. No disrespect to Norwich, but we should beat them, I think, anyway, regardless of their depletion.
Yeah.
But this is an opportunity, as you just said, like Klopp can say, right, I trust you going into the 9 there. Show me what you can do. Go out, give the players a bit of confidence in that position. Maybe grab a goal or an assist, and then it's all good. You know what I mean? We have another option, hopefully, to look at down the line if needs be.
Yeah, show me that 4 week pre-season wasn't just a 4 week kind of holiday kind of thing.
Which is what I'm hoping to see from Koita. I'd want them to kick on. Like, it's 52 million, and nothing of that is being paid back. Let's be realistic. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Do you think he won't start Konate? Do you think it's too early, as in he doesn't want to throw him into the mixer, and he's happy to go with Matip, and he's comfortable enough to start Virgil? Do you think that's the case?
I think he's comfortable. I think he'll want to start Virgil, but I think with Virgil, he might only give him a half, depending on how the game is going.
Yeah.
With Matip, I think he might want to just have a look at Matip in there again, you know what I mean? But I think, again, maybe half time, if it's comfortable, he might bring Konate on into a comfortable game as of that. Certainly looking at the video footage the other day and looking at, I think it was the Osasuna game, he's so comfortable in possession and stuff like that. There's no panic. He's as laid back as Virgil, which is crazy when you think about it.
And he can take the ball, dribble it and everything.
Oh, he's no problem going around players, flashing in real short passes, long passes. That ball he played over the top, I think it was Salah ran onto it.
Konate's ball is ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
Jesus,
like, you know what I mean? And having said that, Joel Matip has a brilliant range of passing on him as well. I mean, he's often hit balls front to back.
And he's always cool as well.
And he's always cool as well, which is absolutely brilliant for us.
So do you think give Firmino 20 minutes towards the end, if you give him a bit of run out? Maybe he's the thinking.
Maybe if he doesn't start, or maybe he's looked at him in training, and maybe he's come back really sharp from the Copa America. They did play right till the end of it, so he only really he only really had a 2 week break when you think about it, So maybe he's come back fairly fit.
Sadio to be unleashed again this season. I'm sure that would have hurt him as much as us. I don't know how you would feel. I think you would agree with that.
He did
I think he is going to be absolutely rearing the goal.
Yeah, he did an interview the other day saying he cannot wait for the league to start. It's just
because we know what he's about,
I think front to back, I think the whole team has a point to prove this year. And I know some of the contenders out there, the likes of City fans and Chelsea fans and even United fans, are writing us off at their peril and stuff like that. But these guys coming back, they're like new signings. And remember, if you look at last season, we finished third last season when we were way out of that situation. And we went on a fantastic run of games with a depleted side. And I just think these rivals would want to wake up, because I don't think they realise the likes of Van Dijk and Gomez, Konate and players like that, even Tsimikas coming in, these are like new signings. And the fact that so many of the players are signing their new contracts, these long-term contracts, the spine of the team is being maintained and stuff like that, I think that's absolutely huge and fundamental to the atmosphere and the morale around the club and around the group at the moment, which I think is huge. And I think they have a huge point to prove this season. And I wouldn't be shocked at all, and I've said it on a number of podcasts, I wouldn't be shocked at all if we win the league this year. I think these lads are chomping at the bit to get out there.
If you can tie down their spine, Yeah.
I think this Norwich game, I think if Norwich aren't careful, they could be in for a proper hiding this Saturday.
I think there's a lot to let out, a lot of steam and a lot of kind of I'm sure a lot of the players were looking on at the lads and saying, I wish I could be out there and helping them, and they probably feel we'll make up for that year as a unit.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you feel about the options coming off? How do you feel about how do you feel about Origi? What do you think about the situation going forward? What do you think is coming?
Yeah, I'm looking at those fringe players. I mean, word's out today that Shaqiri's going to Leon, and it looks like that's going to go ahead. I mean, the terms have been agreed, I think, by both club and by players. So I would say that going ahead. With him, it's kind of sad to see him go because I don't think he really got a great opportunity at Liverpool. He played a couple of times and stuff like that and all, where he looked really, really like the Shaqiri that we know and stuff like that. And when you see him playing for Switzerland, he's an absolute baller, you know what I mean? But it's a shame he hasn't been able to break in there consistently and do what we would have expected him to do. But look, if he does move on, we'd wish him best of luck at all because to me, he's just a real happy-headed guy, you know, that kind of way. Like, and I just,
Yeah, it's just it's very hard, I think, to have any influential on the first team if you're a bit par player. If you're coming on in like, little spurs and few minutes here and there, like, you don't probably really get to show enough
yeah.
to break into the team. Do you feel if he went, then we might get an incoming because there'd be a slot for a non-English international then because he's Swiss, obviously.
I think they're working on a number of deals at the moment. I said it last week on the show and stuff like that. I definitely do think we'll sign at least one, if not two. I still expect Origi to go. Maybe a loan deal or it may be something, but I don't expect him to be sitting on our bench this season.
What about Minamino?
Minamino's an interesting one because he's had a real good pre-season and he had a real good time down at Southampton when he was in the side. But I just think I'm not too sure. I think he could be a guy that sits on the bench, but I'm still not convinced he'll come on in terms of the strength of the Premier League and that sort of nous that you need in a game. I don't think he has that sort of nasty cleverness about him, if you like, yet in terms of the Premier League. I think it's all well and good when you're down in Southampton playing kind of nice ball and stuff like that. You'll kind of look good and you'll get the space and it'll suit them. But if you're in the trenches with us the way we play that hard, fast ball, it might be a bit too much for him. And I think I think in possession at times he can be a little bit lightweight. That's the only thing I say about him. Other than that, he's had a real good pre-season and he certainly laid down a marker to be on the bench without a shadow of a doubt. And he could come off the bench and give you something slightly different. It's whether what the difference in what he gives you is kind of what Klopp would want.
Yeah, so and hopefully, like we'll probably be looking for our own youth, maybe Harvey and Curtis, to kind of come in and have a big kind of play part. Harvey's been absolutely outstanding in pre-season, way beyond his years.
Yeah,
like his maturity and his skill and his talent is there for all. It's terrifying. Only 18, like
And Curtis is the same. He's unlucky. He's after picking up a concussion, so he's out for this game. But Curtis Jones is certainly a player that's maturing into an outstanding player. When you see his skill in midfield and stuff like that, the way he could be running at two players and just a simple little step over a movement of the ball and he's just gone. I seen him there last season in one of the games. He left three players just standing there with a step over and a drag back. And it's beautiful to watch. But I'd say it's in Klopp's mind, it's not really what he likes to see.
Not from a midfield, not from their kind of
I think he likes that more workmanship type of thing rather than that kind of flair. But Curtis Jones is an outstanding player and he has a huge future at Liverpool, hopefully he'll be back after a week or so now from this concussion thing, hopefully, because certainly he's one who's on the bench and one who will come on and absolutely make a huge difference in games, so really looking forward to seeing Curtis Jones this season. Again, another year under his belt, another real good pre-season. He looked outstanding in pre-season as well. And the fact that he's got a concussion can only mean one thing, that he's in training at the moment, giving it an absolute 100%. He's not shying away from man because he's obviously taken a knock to the head. That's why he's out with the concussion. So I look forward to him coming back as well and giving us those options in midfield, I suppose the only other one is Ox, who I think has had an outstanding pre-season. The question is, has he done enough to convince Klopp that he is an alternative to Firmino? Potentially.
Yeah.
I said it to the guys the other night on the podcast on Cheap Heat. I said Oxlade-Chamberlain could be a big factor in our season this year in terms of what he could bring. I think if he's fit and match fit and tuned in, it is. But it's with him and Keita, it's always another what if. But I reckon both of them probably have another season there to show us what they can do. And if they don't deliver this season, then it'll be time to to move on. Really, that would be my view on those two boys.
I think it's now or never with the both of them. Like, I think, if Klopp gives him that false nine role and Naby stays fit and plays well, it's make or break for both of them. Klopp has been extremely patient, even with the fees that have been involved. He's always defended them. Like, he's came out and said, I'm happy with Naby and I'm happy with Ox. He looks good. He's never come out and, blasted them or anything like it. So they have to pay him back, I think, and us with performances and hopefully goals and assists, contribution.
Yeah, I had a quick look at the betting today, and the betting really tells the tale, and that's without knowing the players that are missing. But Norwich at home are 9-1, the draw is 26-5, and Liverpool are 1-3 on. So that'll tell you how heavily favoured we are and stuff like that. And that's notwithstanding the problems that Norwich currently have outside of the squad, the lineup that we mentioned. I looked at some stats that were interesting today as well. Norwich has scored 83% of games last season. Now, that 83% seems like a huge percentage. Our one is 89%, so we scored in 89% of the games we played in last season. But for them to be at 83, my thinking is a lot of that percentage is down to Buendia. And I don't think...
is, if you turn your mind back to Coutinho, unlocking stuff, assists, goals, creativity, he's basically like, when they're going forward, with Cantwell even involved as well, but Buendia is the one, he can make things happen. And I'm sure a lot of that contribution, I'm sure well over 50% was Buendia involved.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Without Buendia, that 83% becomes about 55, maybe 59% or something like that.
Yeah, so it definitely takes its toll on that 100%. Yeah. He was well too good for the Championship, and no disrespect to Norwich, he deserves his move to Villa. Yeah. And I hope he does well. He's a very, very bright future ahead of him. But Norwich, as well as, no disrespect to Buendia, but this is a different level. Them percentages are going to be dropped anyway. You would feel we're doing 89 in the toughest league, and we didn't have a great season, albeit as well. Yeah. The forward line wasn't exactly immaculate, bar Mo, like really, and Jota when he was fit.
Yeah. The other one that surprised me today that I seen the stat today on Diogo Jota. He was the third best striker in the league last year, minutes per goal record, which I thought was outstanding considering the problems that we had in the team and the fact that he was out so much and stuff like that and all. But obviously, when he was on the pitch, he was doing the business and he was outstanding. I think in the first 2.5 months or something like that, he was on fire.
He was always there, he's always picking up them spots and, just his intelligence and his awareness of where to kind of be. And I'm sure, he obviously lost a bit of it through injury, and I'm sure he's just as fired up as well. He's been a great signing. Like, as value for money, he literally came in and hit the ground running. And I'm sure he felt that when he came in, the three lads, that he didn't want to just be in as a backup. He wanted to stake his claim, and I'm sure Klopp seen that, and as we did as well. He did exactly what he came in to do. He wasn't sitting around and if I get a chance, I'll take it. Like, he looks very, I want to be starting this, you know what I mean?
This is probably, I would say, the perfect game to bet the players back in, really, isn't it? In terms of how it has turned out. And I think it's a real opportunity for Klopp as well, probably to make a few subs as well, because I see this being pretty comfortable. I hope I'm not wrong now, but I see this being pretty comfortable. What's your prediction on it? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I do agree with you based on everything. And, maybe looking at this another time, maybe, or with other circumstances, it could have been a potential banana skin. But if you take everything for a whole, like, I think we could absolutely rinse these and make changes as well. No disrespect to them.
Yeah.
But I think this could be an opening game of dreams, in a sense that we win comfortable and fun, albeit be professional. But, Virgil can come off maybe to the 60, 70, maybe another good hour for him in the legs, maybe introduce Konate while albeit being comfortable.
Yeah.
Depending on who goes up front, will he say to Ox, I'm going to throw you one up there in the number 9, see how you do for 20 minutes, albeit being professional again. Will he manage Naby again? If the game is going well, will he will he kind of like look at Naby and say, you know, I'm gonna just keep him intact, maybe bring Milner on just to kind of shore things up a bit, keep Naby's legs. I'm gonna go prediction. I'm gonna go 4-0.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking 4-0.
I do think we're gonna be comfortable. I'm gonna go 2 for Salah. I'm gonna go 1 for Mane. And I'm gonna go. If Ox comes in and plays a part, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt that he does get into positions and can shoot. Yeah. I'll give him the benefit, and if he does make an appearance, I'll give him the goal to wrap it up and make it 4. But I'm gonna go 4-0 Liverpool.
I'm gonna go with a spread of goals around the team. So I'm gonna go with 1 for Salah, 1 for Mane. I'm gonna go with a free kick for Trent, and I'm gonna go with a header for Virgil off a corner or a set piece. And that would be, for me, the perfect start to the season. That's exactly what I want. Some people might call that ambitious, but we are Liverpool Football Club, and we ain't going to let this slip without a shadow of a doubt. This is a prime opportunity for us to lay down a marker this season and get off running.
I think we could go about our business kind of quietly because no one really expects anything really from us around us. So we can just go out and play our ball and, you know, get people back and get back the unity and the kind of the sharpness and stuff, while everyone might be kind of overly focused on the likes of Chelsea, City and United. We're not to be dismissed by any means, but you know what I mean? I'm not saying that as a Liverpool fan, I'm saying that as a football fan, you know?
Yeah, I'm happy for the headlines to be Grealish, Kane and Lukaku and all that. And we just slowly get off away with our business and stuff like that under the radar. Let us get 4, 5, 6 games under our belt, and then they can start talking about us. But yeah, pleasure as always, Craig. Dynamo Podcast Network on YouTube for episodes to show. This has been your Norwich Liverpool preview with us on the Shankly sessions. Coming to you every single week. If you want to contact the show, of course, you could drop your comments into the episode on YouTube, or you can hit us up at Sessions Shankly on Twitter, or you can hit us up at the Upper Tier on Facebook and Instagram. Craig, talk to you again real soon, mate.
Cheers, man. Thanks so much.